Steven makes salsa all the time with our tomatoes. However, another great thing that you can make with your tomatoes that's similar to salsa is some Pico de Gallo. Let's make it. Don't you love it when you think you're filming, but you're not? All right, so we've got all our ingredients here. I am slicing up my onion and jalapeno first, just because my onion, or my tomato, I can talk, is gonna be pretty messy. So I'm gonna save that one till last. But you wanna finely dice these. And I'm doing about a half of a large onion. Now I'm gonna chop up 2 jalapenos. I'm gonna leave the seeds in ours just for the extra heat because that's kind of how we like it. But if you don't want spicy pico, definitely just take the seeds out. I really should have gloves on. Let's remedy that. We are back in action. I say I'm gonna leave all the seeds in, but I'm gonna take some of them out just because that's a lot of membrane. Okay, 1 down, 1 to go. Let's go ahead and put this in a bowl. I'm gonna free up some room here on my cutting board. All right, let's set that to the side. Go ahead and do our tomatoes now. I'm just going to add these into our mixture as I go, just to cut down on the mess over here. But I have a question. When you do things like this, do you get rid of the seeds from the tomato, the really kind of slimy part? I don't, but I know some people do. Okay, I'm gonna finish this up and I'll be right back. We have got all of our tomatoes in here. Now I've got a bunch of cilantro over here, and I did take the long stems off, like that one, but if it's got a little bit of the stem on, I don't think it matters too much. I'm just gonna roughly chop this a few times, and then we'll add that in too. Now, I'm gonna stir this up. That is beautiful. Okay, now let's chop this lime in half. You know what, let me roll it. I've been having some issues with limes lately getting the juice out. I think there's a trick where you can pop it in the microwave for like 10 seconds too. But let's see if we can get some juice out of this one. Oh yeah, that's a better one than I've had recently. Let's try with just half the lime, and I'm gonna add some salt. All right, I'm gonna take a test. A taste test. Okay, I got a clean spoon. Don't police me on that one. Clean spoon. This is really good. It's pretty spicy. We left a good bit of those seeds in there. It's got some spice to it. It's gonna make Steven very happy. He'll be home in a little bit, and when he gets home, I'll have him try this. For our next tomato recipe, we need some bacon to go along with it. So that's what I'm doing now, kind of prepping this before we start on the other. Now, the rest of the recipe will not take long at all, so I wanted to get this pre-cooked and kind of cooling on a paper towel before we move on. So let me tell you what we're making. We are making fried green tomatoes, air fried green tomato BLTs. I would like to thank Sous Vide for sponsoring this portion of today's video. Steven and I had been talking about getting a new air fryer for several months. We wanted one that was just a little more intuitive and had a glass closure so you could see inside while the food was cooking. Then we heard about Sous Vide, and not only is it an air fryer, it does so much more. So we got this Sous Vide 3.0 Plus, which has that air fryer function, but y'all, it has 15 plus cooking modes. And it's so much more than just an appliance. Let me tell you about this thing. It's like having your own kitchen robot or your own high-tech personal chef. Because the beauty of Sous Vide is that you can cook just whatever you're cooking, or you can subscribe to their meals, and I'll tell you about that in a second, and cook one of their meals. But it's smart cooking. Let's say you want to have a particular dinner ready when you come home in the evening. It has cool to cook technology, meaning it's going to refrigerate whatever you put in there in the morning. Then you can set what time you need it to cook. You can set it directly from the device itself, or you can use their app, and then when you come walking in, your dinner is ready. That's innovative, and that is something you can get excited about. I wish I would have had something like this when I worked outside of the home, because it would have been so nice. So I mentioned you can cook your own meals, which is what we've been doing to begin with. That's how I first started testing Sous Vide when we got it. But you can also subscribe and get their meals sent to you. They're sent to you frozen, and then you cook them from frozen. And it's so cool because their recipe card, or like how-to card, has this little circle here, and you just tap it to the Sous Vide appliance, and it knows exactly what meal you're cooking. So it knows how to cook the top and the bottom. It does all of that. It's super smart. You don't have to tell it what to do. You just basically say cook now, or you can reserve a time for it to cook later. Meal kits that you get sent to your home don't really save you time, because you've still got to do all the cooking. Microwave meals do not taste good, and takeout can be super expensive, and it can be unhealthy. But with these meals from Sous Vide, you just scan, schedule it, and then you enjoy it. It is that easy. If you do choose to subscribe to the meals, there's over 50 different meal options each week that you can choose from. But just because you get a sous vide does not mean you have to do the meal subscription. It just means there's an option for that. You can do the meal subscription or you can just cook your own food. I've been so impressed with sous vide so far, and truly that scheduling to cook later and it keeping it cold for you, that is a game changer. The great thing about sous vide too is that you can try it risk-free for 100 days. There is a link with an offer down in my description box, so be sure to click that because you'll get an additional offer. I believe you get 16 free meals when you order your sous vide today. Just go click that link. And if you are looking for the smartest kitchen appliance, like having your own personal chef in an appliance, sous vide is the answer. So while we have a ton of red tomatoes, I thought, why not go get some of the green ones too? And I just washed and dried these beautiful green tomatoes. We're gonna use these, and then we're going to basically make kind of like a dredging station, and then it will go into the air fryer. So we've got our work cut out for us. It's not gonna take long, but it's a little process, so let's do it. Okay, in one bowl, we're gonna do flour. I'm gonna do maybe half a cup of flour. We're gonna add some salt and pepper to the flour, just to have seasoning on that particular layer. And I'll mix that here in just a second. Here we need some eggs. Well, actually, I'm not doing a ton, so I'm just gonna do one egg. I think one egg should be fine. And then in with that egg, just a little bit of milk. The next, and the last one, we need some cornmeal. We also need some breadcrumbs, about the same amount of breadcrumbs as we did cornmeal. A little bit of grated Parmesan, maybe a tablespoon. Some Italian seasoning, and that's it. So let's mix all of these up. There we go. Got that ready. So let's cut up our tomatoes. You know, I don't think, if I have done fried green tomatoes, it has been forever. I'm gonna do them not super thick, but I don't want them very thin either. Why does this make me think of green eggs and ham? These are not green eggs and there's no ham, but here we are. Before we get started, I am gonna spritz these with a little bit of oil just so that hopefully they don't stick to the basket, because we are gonna have to flip them about halfway through. So I'm gonna do that off camera and let's see how messy we can get. So we're gonna take it and pop it in the flour first, then into our egg, and then our cornmeal, then into our air fryer basket. Feel like there's gonna be finger marks on there no matter what you do. I'm gonna try to do the best I can. I'm gonna continue on, keep on keeping on, right? And I'll be right back. We are done, look at that. Both of these full, and my hands look like this. I'm gonna go wash up and then we're gonna put these in the air fryer. Before we pop them in the air fryer though, I've got some olive oil spray. I'm gonna spray the tops of them with that. So let's pop these in the air fryer. They're gonna air fry at 400 for about 5 or 6 minutes on the first side. Then we'll come in and flip them, spray them with some more olive oil spray, and do another 5 minutes on the other side. It has been 6 minutes, so let's take these out and flip them. They already smell pretty good. I can smell them. Now we need to spray the tops again. Okay, those are going back in. I'll do the same to the ones on the bottom, and then they will go in at 400 for 5 more minutes.
All right, let's get in here. I've had fried green tomatoes once or twice in my life. I know I live in the South. I ought to be.
If you ever ate at the Junction, you probably had fried green tomatoes.
Yeah.
If y'all know what I'm talking about, the Junction, y'all let me know. It's in Gowinsville. Well, the original one was in Gowinsville, but they had great fried green tomatoes.
That's a good meat and three spot.
It is, yep.
All right, so here we go. Fried green tomato, BLT. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm. Oh, so the the pickles with the green tomatoes gives it a little pop.
Okay.
And then the mayonnaise sort of comes in there. You get the mayonnaise, the pickles, that bacon flavor. Of course, the bread.
Nice and toasted.
I love this kind of bread. Nice and toasted, buttery.
Yeah.
Nice crunch. You know, you get from a BLT, you got to have that
Yeah,
crunch.
absolutely.
Love that. It's really good. But yeah, the green tomatoes. I love that. I usually don't like, I like green tomatoes.
Yeah.
You know, fried green tomatoes, they're just so greasy.
Yeah.
And I'm not opposed to eating grease, but I love the fact that this was air fried.
Me too. And my house, our house, does not stink now.
Amen to that.
from frying something up, so it's healthier.
Cooked all the way through.
Good.
Nice little texture there from the breading.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, great flavor.
I need you to try that Pico de Gallo.
Oh yeah.
He hasn't tried it yet. I made it yesterday.
Let's get in here. You made it yesterday. It's had time to
marinate.
Man. Put lime in that?
I did. Lime in the coconut, baby.
Oh man, that is good. Oh wow. Yeah, that's some good Pico de Gallo right there. A little bit of heat, the lime, just boom.
Well, I'm so glad.
Pop. That's really good.
All right.
This goes good with this.
Yeah, I figured it would. Okay.
Good job.
Y'all about halfway done. Cole has already eaten his entire look at his plate. All right, I'm getting started. I'll see y'all later. It is time for our last tomato recipe. And you know what? I've been wanting to make this one for probably about a year now. It has been extremely viral. It is the baked feta cherry tomato pasta. The great thing is I don't have to preheat the oven because we're just going to use sous vide for this. We're just going to bake it right in sous vide and we won't heat up the entire kitchen. What I'm going to do, these have already been washed. These came from our garden, obviously. Let's look and make sure, like that one still has a leaf on it. Get all of that off of there. But yeah, that should be good. Now we also have a block of feta cheese. I need to open this. Okay, before we add the feta in there, we're gonna drizzle some olive oil over top. We've got this Tuscan herb infused olive oil, and I think that's gonna add a great flavor. So let's just drizzle that all over. Throw in some salt and pepper too. Let's toss that around and make a little spot right there in the middle for our feta. I've got a 6-ounce block. That should work. Kind of doing that, and we'll add a little more olive oil on top of the feta. That's it. We'll make the pasta separate. That's all we have to do right now. This needs to go in the oven. It's gonna bake for 35 minutes at 400. So we've only got 7 or 8 minutes left on the tomatoes and feta. We've got some water going over on the stove. We're about to put 8 ounces of pasta in there. I need to kind of roughly chop this basil. My friend Christy came over. We went out to an event together. She came over and she brought me basil from her garden and I gave her cherry tomatoes from ours. We did a little trade, but I'm gonna use the basil that she gave me and just kind of roughly chop that. I'm gonna go in with the tomatoes and the feta here in just a few minutes, along with some garlic. So let's salt our pasta water. And we're gonna add about half of this bag of fusilli. Fusilli. We're gonna use about half the bag. Almost boiling. Come on now. I need more bubbles in that. Okay, we're just gonna let this cook until al dente, and then we will drain it and we'll combine everything together. Y'all, my face when I opened that up and saw it, wow. All right, so I'm gonna throw a little bit of garlic in there, and then I'm gonna throw some of this basil in there. I'm gonna reserve a little bit of basil for the top of the dish, not a lot. And I'm just gonna start kind of mashing up that feta. Well, I don't have to. Look at that. Let's just stir it around. Oh my word. If y'all could just smell this. Oh my gosh.
I mean, it smelled great just coming out, but when she put that garlic and that basil in there,
yeah, it just,
wow.
In that heat, it just, phew. But I'm telling you what, I cannot wait to taste this. I love how all of these ingredients are super fresh. Yeah. With the exception of our garlic, but you know, it's okay. I just figured it would be easier to use the jarred garlic because it's not gonna have that bite to it because we didn't cook the garlic, you know? So if you were doing this in a regular oven, like a big size oven, you would put this in a 9x13 and do it that way. Obviously, this is not a 9x13. So we're gonna transfer this over to this dish here in just a minute, and then we'll add our pasta in with it and mix it all around. So we reserved just a little bit of the pasta water here, and we're gonna drain the rest of it. So let's add our pasta to the dish. We're gonna add a little bit of that cooking water there. And then let's pour this over our pasta.
Babe, this looks amazing.
It smells amazing.
I mean, summery pasta right here.
Yeah, no joke.
This looks amazing. Let's get involved.
Cole has already taken a bite and is nodding and stuffing his face with more.
Baby. Man, that is delicious.
So if I said we're having spaghetti, but I really meant this, you wouldn't be mad?
No.
Okay.
This is tremendous.
Good.
The tomato, it's got this Italian flavor to it. Of course, the basil is in there. I mean, it's just like
And then we use that good
basil.
olive oil.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think it is. Man, that is tremendous. The tomatoes, like really just, I mean, wow.
Well, I'm excited to try it. I'm gonna dig in, y'all. I'll be right back. This is so good. I was a little worried that it was gonna be too much feta-ish.
Right, not at all.
No. I mean, is there such a thing as tomato?
I don't think so. That is amazing. Those tomatoes, that is incredible. The flavors
Right out of our
together.
garden.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Wow, y'all.
Such
so
a
if you
great
haven't tried this yet, and I feel like I was one of the last ones on the planet not to try it, but if you haven't, let us encourage you. This could be in a top 5.
Oh, for sure.
We used a lot of our maters.
I know, I'm thankful for that, but wow. Your recipe selection was amazing.
It was top notch, I have to say. So if you're like us and you have a ton of tomatoes, or if you can go get fresh tomatoes somewhere from a local produce stand, make some of these recipes. We highly recommend all 3. And I love that I'm able to use my air fryer function in the sous vide. We can also just bake in it. You can roast in it. You can do so many things. So if you're interested in checking out sous vide, don't forget I've got that link below. As always, we appreciate y'all being here. We had a good time. We enjoyed good food. Sorry we couldn't share with you. We totally would if we could. But we will see you next time. Bye, y'all.
Bye.